Eylül stood frozen beside her father. After years of believing that he was dead, seeing him alive felt impossible. She held his hand tightly and whispered, "Dad, please don't leave me again." Her father slowly opened his eyes. He looked at Eylül, then at Ateş. "You both have to leave this place." Ateş immediately asked, "Who shot you?" Her father struggled to breathe. "The person who has been watching you from the beginning." Eylül asked, "Who is it?" He looked toward the door and whispered, "You already know him." Ateş immediately understood that they were still in danger. He looked at Mercan and said, "We have to get him out of here." Mercan helped Eylül while Ateş carried her father toward the hidden exit. But before they could leave, footsteps echoed through the corridor. Someone was approaching. Ateş stopped and listened carefully. Eylül whispered, "Are they coming for us?" Ateş nodded. "Yes." He looked at the others. "Stay behind me." The door suddenly opened, but nobody was there. Only an old envelope had been left on the floor. Ateş picked it up. His name was written on it. He opened it and found a photograph of himself as a child. On the back was a message. "You were never the target." Ateş stared at the words. Eylül asked, "Then who was the target?" Ateş slowly looked at her. "You." Eylül's face went pale. Her father immediately said, "That is why I disappeared." Eylül looked at him. "You left me to protect me?" Her father nodded. "I knew they would come after you because of what I discovered." Eylül asked, "What did you discover?" He answered, "The truth about your family's wealth, the secret agreement, and the people controlling everything from behind the scenes." Ateş asked, "And what does my family have to do with it?" Eylül's father looked at him. "Your father tried to stop them. That is why he was forced to disappear." Ateş shook his head. "Then why did everyone tell me he was dead?" Her father replied, "Because your real father had to become a ghost." The room fell completely silent as Ateş stared at the person holding the second file. His hands began to tremble. "You," he whispered. The person looked at him, but said nothing. Eylül stepped closer to Ateş and asked, "Who is it?" Ateş could barely speak. "The person I trusted more than anyone." Suddenly, the mysterious man closed the door and told everyone to stay calm. "If you want the truth, nobody leaves this room." Ateş walked toward the person holding the file. "Give it to me." The person refused. "You don't understand what is inside." Ateş replied, "I've spent my whole life searching for answers. I'm not afraid anymore." The person finally placed the file on the table. "Then prepare yourself, because once you read it, nothing in your life will ever be the same." Eylül opened the file first. The first pages contained photographs from the night of the accident. Her hands started shaking when she saw her father standing beside Ateş's real mother. "They were working together," she whispered. Ateş's father immediately said, "No. They were trying to stop the accident." Eylül turned another page and discovered a list of names. Some were crossed out, while others were marked with red circles. One name immediately caught her attention. "This person is still alive." Ateş looked at the name and froze. "That's impossible." Eylül asked, "You know him?" Ateş nodded. "He was the person who trained me when I was young." Mercan looked at the list and suddenly recognized another name. "My father knew him too." The mysterious man explained that this person had been moving between both families for years, secretly collecting information and controlling their decisions. Ateş demanded to know why his father never told him. His father looked at him with regret. "Because I wanted you to have a normal life." Ateş became angry. "A normal life? You erased my identity, disappeared, and let me believe everyone I loved was dead." His father lowered his eyes. "I thought I was protecting you." Ateş stood frozen as the mysterious man pointed his weapon toward his real mother. Eylül immediately moved closer to Ateş and whispered, "Something is wrong. If he wanted to hurt her, he would have done it already." Ateş nodded slowly. "Then why is he pointing the gun at her?" The mysterious man replied, "Because she is about to make the biggest mistake of her life." Ateş looked at his mother. "What does he mean?" She lowered her eyes and began crying. "He knows the truth." The mysterious man told everyone to stay where they were. Ateş demanded an explanation, but he refused to answer until they reached a safe place. Suddenly, several vehicles appeared at the end of the railway station. The attackers were getting closer. The mysterious man fired a warning shot and shouted, "Move." Ateş grabbed Eylül's hand while Mercan helped his newly discovered sister escape. They ran through an old tunnel beneath the station and finally reached a small abandoned building. Inside, Ateş confronted his mother. "You knew about my sister." She nodded. Yes. Atesh's voice became emotional. You let me believe I was alone. She replied. I was trying to keep both of you alive. Ateş asked why his sister had been hidden for so many years. His mother finally revealed that after the accident, the people behind the conspiracy believed both children had died. To protect them, their identities were changed and they were separated. Ateş looked at his sister. Why didn't you ever come looking for me? She began crying. I did. Many times. But every time I got close, someone warned me that you would be killed if I revealed who I was. Eylül stepped closer to her and said, Then someone was watching you too. She nodded. Yes. And that person was not a stranger. Mercan suddenly remembered the old documents. The person controlling everyone must have had access to the hospital records. Ateş looked at her. Only a few people had that access. Mercan replied, Doctors, administrators, and family me. Ateş stood on the old bridge, staring into the darkness where the black car had disappeared. Eylül stood beside him, tears still running down her face. We have to find her, she whispered. Ateş nodded. We will. Mercan looked at the mysterious man. You said this is where everything began. What exactly happened here? The man looked at the old bridge and replied. 20 years ago, this was not just the place of an accident. It was the place where your families made a decision that changed all of your lives. Ateş turned toward him. Stop speaking in riddles. Tell me the truth. The mysterious man took a deep breath. The night of the accident, your father brought your mother here because he had discovered that someone was selling information about both families. He wanted to expose that person. Eylül asked, Who was it? The man replied, The person was already inside your family. Ateş clenched his fists. And my sister saw that person? He nodded. Yes, that is why she was taken. Suddenly, Ateş's phone rang. It was an unknown number. He answered immediately. Where is my sister? A distorted voice replied. If you want her alive, come to the warehouse near the river. Come alone. Ateş asked, How do I know she's alive? The caller sent a video. Ateş opened it and saw his sister tied to a chair. She looked frightened but alive. She whispered, Ateş, don't trust. The video suddenly ended. Ateş looked at Eylül. They want me to go alone. Eylül shook her head. Then we'll follow you. They reached the warehouse and entered carefully. The place was almost completely dark. Ateş called his sister's name, but there was no response. Suddenly, a light turned on. His sister was sitting in the middle of the room, but there was nobody guarding her. Ateş slowly walked toward her and untied her. Are you hurt? She shook her head.